Perhaps you've noticed something. Moods, MWDS. Moods is an enormous indicator of vibrational relationships to reality that encounter you in polarity. Moods. They are a thermometer. They'll tell you things about occurrences. Now, the moods are always temporary. There's no permanency in polarity, if you've noticed. Your life cycles in the demands of its own truth. The ego structure, personality built, that wanes in one area, and it feeds it to become waxed once again, and the depletion of another area is then focused on, and the cycle continues until, well, you know the rest of the story. So, moods is your indicator. Good and bad feeling. Belief systems that trigger emotion. The body itself is encapsulated with a magnificent way to feel alive. There is no mistaking your existence, truly. Even if you thought this all was a dream, the ability to think it's a dream, to feel it's a dream, to even conceptualize your occurrence as a dream tells you the quality of emotion you have within your own idea of worlds created. And the extremities of polarity are so simply measured. They're easy, but they're valued. They're valued as image, and image is a motherfucker to break. Let's look at image a little bit deeper, if you will. I want you to look at beliefs of religions. You must understand more people on your planet have been killed in the name of religion than any other means. More than the Black Plague, more than the idea of any kind of natural occurrence, tsunamis, earthquakes, Pompeii, anything, movement of continental divides, Ice Age has killed an enormous amount of less than identity. And in the means of identifying, we need that name, don't we? There's a new word. Stand by, we're on a side stop here. We've chosen to pull over for a second. Identical. What encompasses the idea of religion as an identical idea? But see, what we're doing is moving into into motion. Identity is a permanent. We need a word that's motion, right? A continuous, like appetitical. It's always appetiting, right? Your appetitical nature is constant. This kind of idea. We'll let it fondle itself, play with itself in its own idea, conceptualization, and then it's going to go, here I am, and we're going to go, of course. Creation. Okay, so religion is a very, very dynamic current, right? This generation, the awakeners, the light bearers, are choosing to deconstruct religion. And you can see a lot of people aren't putting up with the bullshit anymore until they get scared or until they get old. But a lot of them are really not doing it as the value it was, because there's more and more, quote, proof that consciousness is not deemed in the idea of an angry God, is not deemed in the idea of slavery, is not deemed in the idea as opposition. Consciousness is existence, and you're starting to see that. And it's spectacular. So anyways, it's a great evolution, struggles, truth, yes, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, everyone's going to figure it out, right? We're all going to know that we're part of the collective one, whole and all that good stuff. So as the collective is the idea where it's going, it's shedding its religional ideas. But they're still validated by current leaders. And your leaders are still dividing. Okay? Let's take an idea of a religious idea scope for a second. Let's take a 13-year-old child that's Muslim. Now, Muslims aren't bad people. Muslims aren't good people. Muslims are everybody else. For God's sakes, they can be an artichoke, right? Muslims are an idea to bequeath upon oneself as an identity, okay? So you can be an artichoke religion if you wanted to, whatever that means. You can do anything the hell you want, okay? So this child grows up in the Muslim teaching for its culture, just like many of you are Jewish or Protestant or Catholic or, let's say, turning to Muslim, converting over to that idea, or maybe you're Mormon or you're non-spiritual in that idea, or, maybe you worship trees or something. But you put that religion idea. What's happening with religion is it's starting to crumble. And the identity of religion is fortified as a very, very valid truth. So this 13-year-old child who's growing in his idea of spirituality through this idea construct of belief, limited or not, it really doesn't matter, of course. It doesn't matter what it is. If he's worshiping a God that doesn't exist in the idea of a singularity, as Christians are worshiping a JC and the boys, and then some God that, oh, I can't look at my own children because they're covered with sin, all that shit. It's all just a game, right? But it is valid, and it's a truth. Now, what causes the division of religion is right and wrong. So you got a wrong religion and the idea of a right place according to many ideas of dominating Christian beliefs in one idea, but in another part of the world, the Christians are the outcasts, right? So it all was. But this little 13-year-old kid who's growing up in a world, and then you have leaders of the countries that are targeting these kids, and they're wondering why they're turning these 13-year-old kids into radical people, because they told them that. You get it? So religion is continuing to kill each other because one says you're wrong, and the mush mind of a 13-year-old child that has no awareness of his identity as a singular, because he's never been taught love, he's always been crammed the idea of some kind of separation idea, which is just human, and identifies and now is being attacked and then sees the aggressor. So you turn a perfectly evolutionist in the idea of spirituality, and it runs into the brick of religion that tells it you're dangerous, and you turn them into danger, right? This is why, again, Clinton didn't get elected. Hillary is because she was saying this is what you don't want, and they put into place what you don't want. She was like, you don't want this guy, you don't want this guy, you don't want this guy, you want me. No one was paying attention to her. They were paying attention to what they don't want. So they voted for what they don't want. Trump. Now everyone has a personal relationship with what they don't want, and he's representing religious crumbling, which is phenomenal. So you must know that it is embedded in the psyche of humanity, the DNA of humanity. It is a pinnacle post that everyone runs to when they're scared. One way or another, you're going to look up when you're in a moment of peril, and you're going to reach for something. Everybody does it. Until there's no awareness of it, then there's no constitution of that enactment. But right now, everyone is aware. So you must understand a valid idea of this image. That image is moody. It fights. Okay? So when you come across an idea of a moody person, understand that that mood is an emotional belief system that validates itself as an identity, Now, we have been spending a lot of time in the internalized idea, okay? Now we're going to spend time on notifying your perception of people. Like, if we can have a blanket idea, I'd like to pose it, which is kind of counterproductive to what we've been teaching, individual ideas every moment. But there is one religious or one blanket idea I can offer. Just know everyone's doing their best. Okay, can we do that? Because they can't do their worst. There was a student in class, no longer with us, out there doing the same, right? And he didn't understand the concept of lying as a truth, because it is a truth. You can't truth a lie. And all existence is truth, and all of non-existence is non-truth. It's not here. There's nothing about it, right? So the truth is to speak a quote lie that's determined as a lie. All it is a vibrational. It's the same as determining this as a 5-cheese tortellini. It's a lie. It's a bobby pin. You get it? It's creation. You got to know the simplicity of creation is absolutely not permanent, changeable to the eye of the beholder. So this idea of all creation, now you are now starting to engage in, is their best. You have to believe that. Once you start believing it, you'll start to experiencing it through acceptance, turning it into a knowing that no one is out to harm. They're being themselves. So these religion moods, these triggerings, these ideas are fighting for their lives. They are their truth about their image. Because you guys have taken an enormous process through time, a few years, and you've depleted your ego through the idea of systematic, in a way, love for the self. Okay, no one else is teaching this shit. Everyone's teaching what the hell's wrong with you and how do you fix it. Everyone's teaching how do we heal the world. Everyone's relying on the stars. Everyone is doing much of the things of externalizing reality as a basis of cause and effect in a polarized world. Great, let them have it. You are digging in and realizing the relationships to reality are filtered through a belief system that is couched and coveted through your own self. Those belief systems trigger moods, emotions, ways to feel about things. And you fight for them, and you deplete them, and you fight for them again, you deplete them again, and you cycle yourself through your entire fucking life until you die, until all of you recognize them. Now, these people out there that are not awake are not recognizing these ideas. They think they are standards, solids, dependables, meanings of identity that must not be challenged. And if they are challenged, well, they're going to bring out the guns, and they're going to make you safe, and they're going to sell you a story, and they're going to kill whoever is opposing. So those 13-year-old kids who are ready to understand themselves in evolution are being turned into terrorists because somebody doesn't believe that that religion is right, because they are opposing. Now, this is nothing to be right and wrong about. This is what you need to see your mastery as this idea of these opposing sides, these hateful people towards each other, the Hitlers of the world, the Napoleons, now the Trumps, right there with Stalin and Lenin, right? Right there, graded up there, are the idea of doing their best. Now that's incredible from your standpoint. Why? Because you see so much about what they're doing. You understand what they're doing is self-inflicted pain. What they're doing is taking their own worthiness and destroying it through hatred for themselves. creation, a separate idea identified as a separatist at the expense of others, to dominion it into the others, into slavery, so it may feel itself as valid. And it will never be fulfilled as valid. That's why it's still going on almost 18 fucking billion years later. I need you to let that sink in. There's so many timelines. Right now, each and every one of you can spread your peripheral vision, okay? Your peripheral time vision, your alternate time vision, your parallel time vision, and notice 100 million years like that. Those are all the timelines you're creating. So 18 billion isn't really a long fucking time. Seems like a long time because each individual is living the lifetime of that long time. Whether it is an actual physical reality doesn't really matter because the memory validates its idea of sequentialtaneous congruency, and therefore the psyche has lived that long. And it's drudging until light workers realize, congratulations, here you are, okay? So now, these ideas are doing their fucking best, and you have to notice that. Because if you are moody and match them motherfuckers because they're not right, you're right, well then you're just being the same tempo. The absolute mastery is to see that they are their best. And you do nothing except offer your truth in the moment, whatever that is. If your truth makes you moody, well then you know you got a little work to do, don't you? Because the reflectum of creation always tells you about yourself. It doesn't tell them about them. You're still interpreting them, even when they're slaughtering people because they believe they need to pray in a certain direction. Even if they're doing that, that is their best. And you cannot give them creed of validation opposing. Therefore, if you do such mannerisms, well, then you validate their existence as that piece of that reality. 18 billion years, folks. Someone's going to have to break the cycle. And breaking the cycle isn't using opposition. That's only cranking up the goddamn generator even faster. What you need to do is turn away from it with complete allowance and allow them to be their deal, their best, as they are. And they will, as all ideas, eventually in the conduits of time, do one thing: burn out. And then the natural. But no one knows what the hell to do with this place. So here's my explorers. You. How to live without purpose, without their best, without the image, without validation, without something to fight for, without meaning, without something to defend, without something to be proud of, without a production of validated separation that can be measured by anyone in the extinguishable now around you, just for but a moment, so you may exist in that image as validated. And it's all detected by your mood. And you can see other moods. That's not an interpretation when someone's pissed off. You're not, oh, they're really not pissed off. I'm just saying they're pissed off. No, they're fucking pissed. You're relatable in that vibration. It's if you validate that and continue to validate their pisshood through the idea of trying to change it. Let them. So they may flame out. Because if you're giving them attention for being pissed, their mood isn't going to change. It's only enhanced. Oh, you can do the opposition side. Oh, you can console them. Oh, it's okay, relax, we'll take care of it and be the fixer. But all you've done is generated the cycle again. You've cranked the generator for one more cycle, haven't you? Because you gave it the opposite. Did you ever see what an idea of a generator does? Let's take an idea of a, no, let's not go to an engine. Let's go to a motor. Let's use electricity. Okay, magnets, right? Opposing signs continue to go around. You guys are right there on perpetual motions on magnet. You actually have it, but of course, you don't have it because it would crush your infrastructure, right? So anyways, so this perpetual motion is polarity. And when you notice it through your moods and the moods of others, interpreting them while they're upset, they're pissed, they're happy, they're sad, you can understand that that dynamic is a noticeability of a belief system that they're enacting. They can't see it unless you show it to them. How do you show it to them? Not in causality, not in explanation, in allowance. They'll see it. You let them be. They turn around and yell at you and scream at you. Leave me alone. Okay. And just be. And let them rebound, soundboard off of you their truth. Get it? I use religion because it's an easy mood to spot, right? I mean, people have crosses all over America, you know, and they pride themselves on Jesus. Look at your NFL players, for fuck's sakes. They're always giving thanks to God. Thanks to Jesus. Okay, now let's look at polarity. That means, oh, they're a good person. They're religious. See, children, look what they're representing. You go and you score a touchdown, making $80 million over the next 5 years. That's how you are in the idea of God's eyes. Now, I know we're eating fucking government cheese, means we're not doing the right thing with Jesus. So we got to get right with God. Okay, kids? Now go eat your tricks. It's a special night for them. You see how the polarity is just bullshit? Every vibrational, everything. Most people say, oh, that's a good thing. He's giving things to Jesus, to God. He's giving it up. Yeah, that is 100% validating separation. Giving thanks to an externalized source. There is no external. That was a little curt, wasn't it? There is no Spock, my old friend. I'm not very good at that, but it's still fun. Externalizing validation to give your own gratitude of your own fucking existence to another that's not there. There is no out there. There is only I am all that is. I, one, am all that is. You got to see that. So validating those ideas for anybody who is awake continues the 18 billion years. Always. And it's all done through a thermometer of moods. They're detectable. You know when people are happy, and if they have cause or effect, reasonality, hope of that happiness that is dependable, you know that that person right then in their vibrational is their best. But the recognition gives you an opportunity to allow them to flame out on their own perseverance of soliciting you for the validation reflected back to them that they matter in the way of their dependency seeking its connection. And you are the calm. More people heal themselves when they're left alone. Not in the idea of physical pain. You know, if you're cut, shot, go to a fucking doctor. go get healed. That's why you guys created medicines of the physical world. You got away from the naturist ideas because there was no money in it, because everything was accessible. You guys see your CBC, right? Cannabis and what it can do for creation and the idea of that. But of course, you took it to get fucking high. But it was a medicine from the original. And then it was discovered to, take you to La La Land for a while. So that was the main attribute. But before that, hemp was some badass shit. And if hemp was more productive and more easy to grow than tobacco was, you guys wouldn't have cigarettes at all. Very, very, very few tobacco-related products if hemp would have been validated. It was right there. Isn't that neat? How quick that would have changed, all of creation. But still, it would have been a dependency. But anyways, your plants and earthbound ideas are very valid for healing some idea of relationships. But since you've grown into a hostile world, look up on YouTube how people kill themselves in the Victorian age. The Victorian age, a lot of people killed themselves just because they were born. And the way they built things and the way they constructed it, it was a whole validation. That's why, a lot of places have OSHA now. If you don't know what OSHA is, look it up. OSHA. To show that, look, we have so much harmful technology around us, we need to protect ourselves, right? And that's what you do. But you had to grow into medicine. But of course, now it's just another fleecing idea of the cattle called humans. Now you're just prescriptions. That's all you are. But that's not all of you. That's the psyche. So don't take offense. It's the psyche of humanity. You're not the psyche. You are an awakener. Okay? So just realize these things. And you can start to notice a whole shitload of observable vibrations of separation through the moods that you observe and validate within yourself the same contextual feeling that you once knew as a real belief system. You knew it, you can show them a different way to live. Can't you? Yes. But not through teaching, not through plagiarism of anyone else, through production of your own goddamn truth in the moment that has no syllabus. I don't know if you're brave enough to do that. I don't know if you trust yourself enough to be a natural fucking creator with no image. But there is no becoming natural until you be it. You can be an image. You've been doing that your whole fucking life. You want to know what it is to be a creator, you got to let go of the image. We all know that. Oh, it's good to be here. Yeah, okay. All right. Stand by. I have to change the body position for this incarnation because it's shaped different. You ready, Roxanne? Greetings, humanity. Let us offer something to you. You are a medicated society, medicated in many ways of validating an escapism. Just because you do not take medicines doesn't mean you are not medicated. The sleeping idea of humanity, the medicated idea, to part your ways from the obvious life that is behold, is so much simpler for you to avoid the idea of truism within your own self. These are the extinguishable parts by medicines that can be covered up and alluded to through the idea of victimization, through the idea of separation ideas of assignment of these victimization lanes, if you will, taking these constructs and seeking reasons to stay away from your own kingdom. Your kingdom is a medical know-how in the illusionary aspect of avoidance. Your kingdom, however, is also the same exploratory idea, albeit in the opposing nature of polarity that most seem to adventure into. Most of you seek the dullness, the value of polarity, which is good, or mainly avoidance. You work so effortlessly at yourself when it comes to the idea of knowing. Knowing what? How to escape. It is so simple. You have so many entertainment aspects on how to escape your reality, how to dull your senses, how to cover up your value in the idea of medicated. The prescription medicines that you take are TV, are escapisms in a circumferencing idea. Whether they are subscribed, prescribed, it matters not. They are both escapisms from the horrible side of yourself. This horrible side is a measure. It is a moody self. It is what is encouched in everybody. Each and every one of you have murdered somebody in your mind, have killed, have raped, have done all the atrocities in your own gestalt somewhere in your lifetime. These are the things that are possible within you. Some bring them to the world. They kill people for religions, and so therefore it is acceptable that it is not murder. They rape people with a manageable idea of drunkenness as a permission slip. They do these explorations of self to medicate themselves from the atrocities within, yet venture into the atrocities of themselves in avoidance. Albeit this might seem confusing for many of you right now, we are not here to speak in the idea of what you would consider congruent. We want you to understand that your societal needs are dependent on escapism. You don't want to face yourself, your absolute outcome beyond what you validate your own worthiness to explore. So what do? The simplest is to do nothing. And you will naturally be challenged. The effortlessness that you truly are is not medicated. The effortless leads you by its own course of nature to what you would understand as challenging. If you do nothing about things, you take no creative time, you validate no responsibility, you are no longer respected or respectful, you are no longer imaged in the accordance of need, wants, and desires. The only thing you will know is challenge. The challenge is to know exploration as an unyielding way to know yourself that takes no precedence of easement, zero buffers, no comfy pillows. It is a tyrannical idea of being obliterated. To venture into an absolute deconstruction of an image is an absolute suicide. It is killing yourself, literally, not in the physical nature, in the sense of absolute existence. To venture into this world that you have shadowed, every day have edged and known this light, is something of an accomplishment to the viewers that we are to your society. For you to venture as close as you've come to absolute obliteration of a human psyche, and the outcome is only one: knowing. It's so exciting for the idea of measured moods, so you can communicate these ideas with me. So we say, it is exciting to watch where you guys are going. For many of you are choosing to stop your medications, to stop your avoidances. Your cannabis is an escape. It is not going to get you closer to home. It's not going to make you smarter or better. It is a way to know yourself. Or when it is a dependency, then you are medicating yourself in avoidance of the potential of a reality that is more than what you are. And we all know one thing, don't we? That you are afraid to know what you are. Otherwise, you would not be challenged. So since the unworthiness of a separated idea is the first knowing of itself as a human, this unworthy idea is identified with escapism through the others of validation its entire life. So ripping apart this image is most certainly the highest class of ascension to behold. Congratulations for reaching it. Whether you do it or not for the self, it matters not anymore. Why? Because this is not a test, nor this is a condition of accomplishment. For you have already accomplished the ascension of humanity. You are living in history, so you may know yourself as an ascender. However, the creatures of human have already ascended because of the work you have done in the psyche. Congratulations. From the Arcturian Council of Nine, we bid you a good evening. Always good to have a guest, isn't it? They have a different little structure, a longer neck. They got weird hands. Roxanne says they got weird hands. Weird to the human, I'm sure. They have many signals. Humans, get the burp. I'm not a human right now, but you know, I've trekked with you, all of you. Anyways, good shit. Consider yourself that. Go play, go live, and observe. But now you're not working on yourself so much because you know, and don't think you don't know. Stop fucking around with you. You're fine. Now look at the idea of the world you co-create with. Not in the idea of attraction. Oh, they're an asshole, cause, effect, mirror, let go. For God's sakes, be the truth of today, and you will see the ideas of best. And those validations are looking for change. What the fuck are you? You're change. That's what you want. 18 billion years cracked today. That's all we have.